the Democratic Party, where you have some that are all the way to the left, like Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So AOC got a new committee assignment. She's now on the House Financial Services Committee. This coming after she's expressed interest in taxing wealthy individuals upwards of 70%. Yesterday on this program, I spoke with Texas Congressman and House Financial Services member Roger Williams. Here's what he said about AOC joining his committee. What will she bring to the table, and how are you going to respond to her new ideas on taxes?
Well, I'm not sure what she brings. I know she has. I don't think she has any business experience. I've been in business 50 years, and I've seen rates at 0, rates at 20. I've paid high tax rates. The tax cuts have worked. We're putting people to work. We know we have more jobs than people. I'm a Main Street business guy. I employ several hundred people. Main Street feels good about where they're heading. So hopefully we'll have some good dialogue on free markets, capitalism, entrepreneurship, and giving the money back to the people, not the federal government, when we start our hearings again.
I don't think that's her plan. Nick, your reaction?
I think we need to sort of take a pause on AOC's tax policy proposal. She's been a member of Congress for maybe 2 weeks.
And it's not on Ways and Means,
and
right? She's on financial services.
On
37% to 70.
Right. She will be a brand new freshman member of Congress on a massive committee. I don't think she's going to be the one writing the legislation here at all.
Yeah, but what will she do on financial services? I mean, we know that this administration has rolled back regulations in a big way in terms of, well, even the big banks haven't even seen the impact of that, but certainly smaller banks. Does she want to undo that?
Right. Actually, absolutely. I think she'll be very much in line with what the leadership of that committee will be. And I think where she will play an important role is that she has mastered social media, mastered sort of getting that kind of message out, and she may be a very compelling communicator on these issues.
Wait, when you say she'll work with the leadership of that committee, in other words, she's not going to be a Bernie Sanders kind of gadfly? You think she kind of becomes part of the club and raises money on Wall Street just like the rest of them?
That's a really interesting question, because remember, like, the financial services is a great place to raise money because all the banks have interest. Would she be one of those people? I don't think so.
One thing I think to remember too, right? One thing to remember too is that actually one of the more significant rolling backs of regulation was not administrative. It was bipartisan legislation that was passed through the House and the Senate last year, with the Senate banking bill getting 67 votes in the Senate. So I do think that the new Congresswoman is up for a challenge there, where she is on a committee that actually has been prone to make deals and has made a significant deal in the past 8 months, I think.
I think you could view her, this role, sort of more as a gadfly, perhaps more the Bernie Sanders role, using sort of social media to go after.
How annoying is she, though, to the Democrats who have been in service for a really long time, with her and some of the freshman congresswomen chasing Mitch McConnell around yesterday on the
how about what she said about Senator Lieberman, 24 years in the Senate? Who dis?
Oh, my.
I mean, it's the political equivalent of the butt selfie on Instagram.
I think you should even remember, so when these young members first came in, they did a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office over climate change. And this again, this is the challenge. The worst thing that happens when you win a House and you have the majority, you have a lot of new members who aren't going to play by the old rules.
Yeah.
And we should point out the committee chair is going to be Maxine Waters, right? So it's not like you have a centrist figure who wants to run this committee, and this probably encourages Congresswoman Waters to be irrelevant in the legislating of the Congress.
Right, or if even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is sort of a counterbalance, lets Maxine Waters maybe take more central position. But if we're going to be talking about policy on the Financial Services Committee, we should be talking about Chairman Waters, not a junior representative who just started her new job.
Cowan came out with a report, Cowan Washington Research Group, about what the impact of AOC being on the committee, and they say it's really Warren that you really have to focus on, obviously, but also that AOC is going to be a very effective questioner of witnesses. That's what Cowan said. But beyond that,
if they bring a bank CEO to that committee, I'll tune in for her questions.
Exactly. Let's talk social media influence. Axios is out with a report on Twitter influence this week. I want to talk about it. It reports that Ocasio-Cortez has more power on Twitter than Democratic presidential hopeful Kamala Harris and former President Obama, only beaten out by President Trump. Tell us about that.
I think it speaks a lot to how sort of she won that election and why she's become such a powerful force. She's really great on social media. And I think, to the same point, the president is the president now, I think, to some degree, for his ability to sort of grasp that attention on social media. And I think that's very much important sort of in how this is unfolding. We've written a lot about Beto Instagramming his dentist appointment. Being compelling on this is a great way to reach new voters.
I can't wait until more people enter the race for the Democratic nomination, and you know that they're going to wind up, who does the best keg stand? Who can funnel a beer the fastest?
The things that really matter to the American people.
What desperation is the world's worst cologne.
But this speaks to an authenticity question that apparently voters care about, right? Going into the next election. election.
Yeah, but was it authentic to see Elizabeth Warren say, I'm going to go get a beer?
I think people can
And then her
suss that
husband's
out.
looking at her
becomes
like,
very
what are we
obvious
doing?
who is authentic and who isn't whether there's no intermediary. It's just you and your
Right.
audience.
I mean, that's something we wrote about when we let all these Democrats who are joining this for the presidential campaign. There's going to be a lot more people on social media. It's going to get really lame.
So she ought to run.
New developments in the Steele dossier case. Former Associate Attorney General Bruce Orr briefed senior FBI and DOJ officials on Christopher Steele's Russia dossier back in 2016. Orr apparently warning the departments that the dossier was research into Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and it might be biased. So now you've got an insider at the DOJ back then saying, wait a second, guys, maybe this is not the kind of report that we want to use to wiretap an American citizen, but they did it anyway, Nick.
I think it's very important, just another data point, to view the Steele dossier as a political document. It's not something that was vetted by intelligence agencies, not reported out by FBI. It was just a private citizen who collected all these kinds of things together.
Well, Jim Comey called it, what do you call it, salacious.
But it is a data point, is not the data point, and so that's why I'm very hesitant to draw conclusions from that. Let investigators sort of follow these strands and figure out what actually is right and what isn't.
But if true, it could be more trouble for Jim Comey because, remember, he has presented it as he was kind of vaguely aware or unaware of where this stuff was coming from. This is more evidence that it was known or should have been known by him.
Little by little, it's all coming out in terms of the way they handled the 2016 election. Let Mueller finish his report, and we'll get more details. Nick, it's good to have you on the show this morning.
Great to be here. Thank
you
you
so much. We're all big fans of Axios, and Nick Johnston from Axios joining us there. Coming up, big banks in focus. We just had earnings from KeyCorp and M&T Bank. Morgan Stanley out later this hour. Netflix reporting later today after the close. We're breaking it all down. Then the grass is always greener, right? On your sneakers, Nike's sweet new kicks inspired by the links on a golf course.